Like to call the meeting to order at 10:03 a.m. Thank you all for joining us. Just lost my mouse. Okay, hold on. Problem with two screens. First order of business is the approval of meeting minutes. So we have two sets of meeting minutes. We have one obviously for executive session. We'll talk about that in the executive session. I think I also sent out the other one for the regular meeting as well. The last one, just gonna pull it up. I don't think I saw any comments on that, but let me just pull up make sure I have the right date. Yeah, so the meeting minutes for January 31st, 2025, which was pretty short. I think that's where we just simply appointed LNU to CPC. So I have those meeting minutes that need to be approved. I'm also going to check to see if we actually need to approve the ones on the 23rd as well, but let me just check that. But I guess first starting with that, any comments on the ones from the 23rd? If no comments, do I have a motion to approve the January?
So moved.
Okay. Do
Second.
I have a second?
Second.
Excellent. All right. All in favor? I think we should just do.
It has to be roll call.
Okay. All right. So we'll start with all in favor. Ellen?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Al?
Aye.
Jesse?
Aye.
And Doug is aye. So those are approved. All right. Let me just check quickly. Yeah, we did approve the ones on the 16th already, so that was it for meeting minutes, just those that were on the 23rd.
What
All
about
right.
31st?
31st. Let me check the 31st. Oh. Yes, correct. Oh, that was the 31st. Sorry. Did I
Just the
misspeak?
23rd.
Oh, I said the 23rd. All right, so let's do the ones then for the 31st. So again, I didn't receive any comments. Any comments on those meeting minutes? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, second.
Second.
All right, we'll go all in favor. Ellen,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Al,
Aye.
Jesse.
Aye.
All right, excellent. All right, so those are both approved. Thank you so much.
And Doug, on the executive session, I believe, at school committee at least, we normally approve those in open session, but just vote to approve and retain.
Okay. All right. Great. So we have the executive session meeting minutes that are from the 23rd. Paul had some good comments, which he circulated. I'm good with those. Pretty straightforward. So I don't have any objections to those edits that Paul made. Any discussion on the executive session meeting minutes from the 23rd?
Good.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve and retain.
Okay.
Second.
All right. All in favor? Ellen,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Al,
Aye.
and Jesse.
Aye.
All right, great. Thank you. Next, just some quick new business items. One was, it was going to be a discussion of the pending CPC application and the CPC meeting. But they didn't have a quorum last Thursday. And then last night, and Ellen, thank you for the email. They was not noticed properly. I think it was accidentally put for February 1st when it was February 11th. So they could not hold the meeting. And so I believe they're going to be rescheduling that meeting. And I'm sure that I get a notice posted for that. So was not able to post one in time beforehand, but so no update on that, but just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. So that has yet to take place.
Just out of curiosity, to Paul's question yesterday, do we need to post if we have a quorum of people, but not all participating?
So it's interesting because I did email Jim Haggerty, and he emailed me back, but then Paul pointed out, Jim's email, the word came CAN with an apostrophe. So it wasn't clear if it was can or can't. So I have to clarify that, but, I don't know, Al, if you know, just or Jess, from a procedural perspective, I think you're technically. You have to,
If there's going to be a quorum, we have to post.
okay,
That's my opinion based on my experience as a municipal employee.
I think,
Even the appearance of having an open meeting situation warrants posting to avoid future issues.
I agree with Jesse. Better safe than sorry.
Right.
Makes sense.
You know,
The only gray
if all of
area-
us agreed that we wouldn't talk, which would be not nearly impossible, I think we could get away with it, but yeah, better safe than sorry.
The gray area that I was wondering about was if it's a Zoom meeting and, say Doug is there in person, maybe with Al and me, well, no, Ellen would be there anyways. So say Doug is there in person and Alan's on the CPC anyway. But others are in the audience on the Zoom call and not as a participant, but just in the audience. So you can't deliberate that way. And the deliberation is really what open meeting law is about.
Well, if one person, Paul, was speaking, and in this case, in your hypothetical, it would be Ellen, that's deliberation
Is
with a
it?
quorum present.
Okay.
so what I'll
Sorry
do,
this
Yeah.
is just coming from, dealing with this.
so,
Okay.
yeah, so my goal would be to post, definitely, because we're obviously an agenda item, as soon as I hear, but Ellen, if, because you'll probably hear first, if they finalize a date, if you could just, email me, because then I'll post as soon as possible.
Yes.
And that way we don't miss it, because obviously we need 48 hours, so, okay, Great.
So I just have one other ask on that. If there is a quorum, then if somebody can just call the meeting to order.
Yep.
Again, to fall into line. Like, let's say Doug's not there, but Al and Paul are there. Then Ellen, as you're, sitting on the committee in this hypothetical, you would just call the meeting to order. And then even if nobody talks, we're covered.
That sounds good.
okay. The next item was I received an email from Karina, on the housing production plan. So technically, the housing production plan has a July 2025 expiration date. I was not involved with the previous housing production plan. Jesse, you may have been, or Al, some of you guys may have been, but so I'm just putting it as an agenda item I am not sure of the procedure. I can follow up with Karina, but it sounds like it needs to be renewed. But I also don't know if we can simply renew it as it is, or we have to do a new housing production plan, or what the process is. So just want to bring to the committee, because again, Shopsy did this last time, but, and it sounded like the Affordable Housing Trust actually paid the bill for the submission or the application. So a little bit in uncharted territory. So I want you to see if the board had any thoughts or comments on that, and I can always follow up with Karina, but just curious if anybody have any thoughts or background on this.
Yeah. So the last time I could have sworn this came out of the MAPC committee, but
What's that, Jim?
it's a planning, it's like a planning subcommittee that's oriented around a specific grant, and I can't remember which one right now. But in any event, Doug, since I'm actually on the planning board at the moment, and we have a meeting on the 24th, do you think our trust committee that we're on right now is going to meet prior to the 24th?
I think there's a reasonable chance that we will have something to discuss.
Okay.
I think,
Well, I was just going to volunteer to put it on the planning board agenda, or request that it be on, and then, we can get we can get planning department action through
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
If
I'm gonna
that's
be,
helpful.
I'm gonna be before the planning board on the 24th anyway. But yeah, with respect to the housing production plan, my understanding is we are 1 unit short of meeting our goal. And, you know, which we will be discussing in more detail in executive session. And there are some options if that doesn't work out.
Yeah, so again, defer to the group. Jesse, I don't have no issue with you putting it on the planning board agenda. Al, I don't know if this is something that you need to reference to the board of the select board. You know,
I'll look into it from that perspective and just understand what's required. I think ultimately, yeah, let me look into it, and I can talk to town council as well. I've had several conversations with council about these matters.
okay. Yeah, and I think my only perspective is if you can even renewing obviously is not a hard lift between now and July, but if for some reason we have to create a new plan or update the plan, you know, that's a very short amount of time, which would likely, and Jesse, to your point, not sure which board would be doing it. Again, Karina referenced that Shopsy was responsible for it, but like you said, it might have been another board. I don't know. So, but okay, so it sounds like Jesse, you'll follow up with the planning board, and Al, you'll follow up with town council or select board.
Yeah,
I'll keep this as an agenda item.
I'll knock on Karina's door as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and my guess is that there will have to be some updating. There is a lot of demographic information, a lot of facts and figures that the strategies are based off of that I think would need to be updated. And it looks like there was an outside consultant who worked on it last time. So yeah, the process of finding them and all of that, I think, will certainly take some time.
Yep. And so
Okay.
maybe one of the strategies might be too, is that if it requires an update, which I would agree, Alan, that makes a lot of sense, you know, can we actually get an extension from the state of 1 year, or, you know, extend it for 1 year so we have time to actually do an updated plan? So, okay.
There is a substantial benefit to adding a unit between now and the end of June in terms of meeting our goals and moving the town into safe harbor. So we can talk about that more in a minute.
Okay. All right. I think that is just the rest of just general business in the open meeting. Do I have a motion to move into?
So,
Go ahead,
sorry to interrupt, Doug. I just had a question
Yep.
regarding the CPC application. Is that okay if
Yep.
I ask about that before we move on?
Yep.
So my understanding is that the select board had 2 members other than Al attend an affordable housing, the housing authority meeting recently, and basically laid out a case for the housing authority to support the application, the trust application in front of the CPC. Al, were you aware of that?
I was not, although there is nothing inappropriate about that.
Okay. So I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't something that I had missed or.
Yeah. This is the first I've heard of it, but certainly I in fact actually had a conversation with the chair of the housing authority separately.
That I knew.
Yes.
And that
yeah,
was discussed in
Right,
this
right.
committee.
Yes.
But I don't recall anybody saying that the chair and vice chair of the select board were going to approach
I have no
the
knowledge.
housing authority and advocate for them to write
I, you know,
a recommendation.
I
And I
have,
would just ask Al, going forward, if that is going to happen, that be discussed in this committee prior, if possible, just so that I don't get questioned by residents about stuff that I had no idea was happening.
well, given that this is the first I've heard of it, I will chat with the two members and but there is nothing inappropriate in my mind about doing it. In fact, I think that is doing the board members doing their job. That, in my opinion, this has been a policy goal of the select board for 2 years, and advocating to implement a policy goal is a perfectly reasonable thing for a select board member to do.
Without informing the committee that is the applicant. I just want to make sure I'm clear.
It does not bother me. It may bother others. It does not bother me. But I will chat with the chair and vice chair and express your concern that,
Thank you.
you felt blindsided by that. Fair enough. I'll talk to him.
Sorry. Thank you.
No, that's fine. And just a quick question. So was there an actual letter that was already issued, or was discussion?
I don't know what the status is of the
Okay.
Housing Authority's position on our application. I didn't even know that anybody was going to ask the Housing Authority to, write a recommendation of support.
Gotcha. Okay. I was just curious. Okay.
I did know that we had talked about, Doug, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, on just gauging whether or not the Housing Authority had an appetite to help in terms of property management, in terms of, adding a unit to their portfolio of properties that they're, handling rents, et cetera, on. That all made sense to me, but I didn't know that the Housing Authority was going to be asked to, advocate on the CPC application. That's kind of a different thing than what we've discussed. And the reason I have a concern about this is if we're going to have actions taken in town on behalf of or concerning this committee, they really should be discussed before they happen.
Okay. Message received, and
Thank you.
I will deliver it.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay. Nope. No problem. All right. So do I have a motion to move into executive session? Per MGL Chapter 38, Section 21, and not returning to open session to discuss potential property acquisition, exemption number 6.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Is this a roll call to go in, or just all in favor?
That's roll call.
All right. Ellen? Paul?
Aye.
Al?
Aye.
Jesse?
Hi.
And Doug is aye. All right. Now, I think I've just learned I can actually lock the webinar. I'm going to try this. Hopefully it doesn't blow up anything. Yep. Okay. So no one else can join. And I'm looking at the participants, and there's only the 5 of us, and I am the town of Southborough. So there are no attendees. So it's just us in the room. I actually have a logistical question. So do I have to let IT know not to post the full video, or how does that typically work? I mean, this is the first time I've done executive session as a Zoom. I can email Hassan, but any experience with that?
I think you have to let IT know, and I would also let Vanessa know.
Would we stop recording, Al?
Yeah, actually, we can stop recording. That'd probably be the simplest way to proceed.
Okay. Can do that. Hold on.
Clearly, you've done this before, Jesse.
Never.
Yeah,
No, this
okay.
is uncharted territory. I've not been in executive session in a Zoom meeting before.